Alrighty, so for this video, the first time we're going to introduce a very strange concept for my bring back videos, which is continuity. And that is we're going to take some of the code that we employed in the last video and augment it, add something to it, make it better. So if you recall, if you watched the video, even if you didn't, here's what the stuff does. Gets an age, tests it against some criteria, and tells you the things you can legally do in the state of Nebraska that are generally vice related. So we'll notice that each time we want to test for a new age, we have to run the whole script again. I keep going back, clicking over here, and then running this module, right? And that's kind of a silly way to go about it. If I have tasks that I want to repeat, one good way to do that is to define a function that accomplishes that task. We've spent some time on functions before, mostly the ones that come included ahead of time with Python, but for the first time now, we're going to make our own function. Let's take a stab at it. Alrighty, so if you recall from our brief discussion on functions much earlier in the series, they are pieces of code you can reuse, and oftentimes you can pass them an argument, and it will give you some sort of output. So, the length function called on red returns 3. There are 3 characters in red, not too complicated. Before you can call your own function that you've made, you have to define it, and I'll show you how to do that over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out setting age equal to something that the user gives us, and we're going to actually make it an argument that we pass to this function. So we're going to define, def is how we define things. And the function, let's just say this name is get legal. You'll notice the highlighting comes in as blue. And what we'll do is we'll say get legal is a function that we call with the argument age, and we'll give a colon. Everything after that colon and indented appropriately will be part of that function. So we'll need to edit these lines, and we will need to, let's see here, or rather, format them. We'll indent the region, which apparently is control and left bracket. If we go ahead and do that, it'll move all of them 4 further spaces to the right. So anything 4 spaces in or more until we hit the new line down here is part of this get legal function. So we take this and run it. We're going to get nothing at all. You'll see it just gives us a blinking cursor, but we now have the opportunity to call that function. So if I do get underscore and hit tab, it'll autocomplete. The function's loaded up within the Python interpreter. It's ready to go. So let's do it on 99. Wow, look at that. We can do all those various things. Alt P for previous lines. We can put it in 13. So not too terribly wild or complicated, but we've just given ourselves a much quicker way to call this thing. We can do it within other code structures, and we can run it again and again without having to restart the module like we did before. Defining functions is a crucial, vital, important part of programming, but as we can see, Python makes it super easy to do. One thing we should take note of here is that age gets used only within the context of the function and then goes away. It's not in the memory afterwards. So if we go looking for age, try to find out what it is, it'll say name age is not defined because age only works within this context. It's going to evaluate it, print one of those statements, get out of the function, and age is no longer stored within the memory that way. So that's something you should be mindful of when you're moving variables around. We'll spend more time later on talking about local and global variables and the dangers therein and how to manage those things and good practice that way. But for now, it should suffice that you know that age only exists within the the context of that particular function. So that is a very brief and breakneck paced look at how to define and call your own functions within Python. We're going to be doing a lot more of this as time goes on, but that is a huge, vital building block for writing your own programs. Again, my name is Ed, and I work for mybringback, and it is my personal pleasure and source of pride to bring you these Python videos on a regular basis. So I would ask you to continue to consume them, to continue to employ the things you learn to better the life that you live and the lives of others, and to go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and keep watching, man.